Hello guys, welcome to BashLamp channel. This is a step-by-step tutorial series on the Windows Server 2019. In the previous video, we have done some basic configurations on our server after installing. In this video, we are going to look at how we can set up an Active Directory in Windows Server 2019. So, basically you will learn about the process of implementing a new forest for an Active Directory environment using Windows Server 2019. This will be done initially by installing Active Directory Domain Service role, and then by promoting the server to be the first domain controller for a new forest. At the same time, we will also install the DNS server role to use Active Directory integrated DNS zones. But before we start, you need to make sure these things first. First, you must have an administrative privilege on the server, and set up server with a static IP address that we have already done in the previous video. Then, you have to make sure that your server name is under your company's naming standards. So, first let's check this checklist, and then we will move forward to our today's topic. So, this is Server Windows 2019, and I am going to open Server Manager. At the Server Manager, I am going to click on Local Server. And, as you can see, we have set up our computer name from the last video. Also, you can see our computer already got the static IP address too. So, let's click on it. Then right-click on the Ethernet and select Properties. After that, select IP version and click on Properties. Here the important thing is, under Preferred DNS Server. The DNS server is preferred to use its own IP address, as we also want to install DNS server role on this computer. So that's why this IP address is set as a preferred DNS server. Let's close these windows. And in a PowerShell, as you can see, our location is inside the administrator. That means we are an administrative user. But still want to confirm, right? And for that I can run this whoami command. And it will indicate I logged in as administrator on this PC. So we have administrative privilege as well. If we look at the today's task, first we need to install Active Directory Domain Server role. Then the second task is we need to promote the server to a domain controller. So let's go back to the Server Manager, and I am going to click on Manage. And here we have the options to add roles and features. So let's click on it. Before you begin screen, you need to verify some settings, and that we have already done. So let's click on Next button. Here we have two options. One is role-based or feature-based installation. Other one is remote desktop service. For this installation, we have to select role-based or feature-based installation. So let's click Next. Here we have only one server on our server pool. So click Next button. Here we have an option to select server roles, and in our case, it will be Active Directory Domain Services. So I am going to select this. And you can see here, it also gives us one pop-up box, where it is asking us to select some features to run Active Directory services run properly. So let's click on the Add Featured button. And make sure you select this Include Management Tools as well. And here, we also want to install the DNS role. So I am going to select this one as well. Then let's again click the Add Features, and then click on Next. And Next again. And again click Next. Now I am going to click Install button. You will have to wait for some time to finish the installation. So after installation, we have to restart our server. Now our server got restarted. So when you click the Tool tab, you can see now we got some Active Directory tools after the installation. Now we finished our first task, which is setting up the Active Directory Domain Services. Now we want to promote this server as domain controller. For that, just click this yellow mark for the post-deployment configuration. So when you click this, it will start the Active Directory Domain Service configuration wizard. By using this wizard, you can promote this server to be a domain controller. Here we have total 3 options. If you want to add domain controller to an existing domain, that time you need to select this first option. If you want to add a new domain to an existing forest, you can select this second option. In our case, we are going to add a new forest, so we can select this third option. And here you need to specify the name of your root domain. For this video, I am going to use bashlamp.local as a root domain. Once you specify your root domain name, click on Next. Here we have to select the functional level of our forest, as well as the root domain. So our forest function, as you can see, it is already set to Windows Server 2016. We are deploying new forest, that's why we need to select the maximum available Windows Server version. In our case, it is Windows Server 2016. And for the domain functional level, you can see we don't have any options. At this time, we don't have any options to select the Windows Server 2019. Under Specify Domain Controller Capabilities, as you can see, DNS is already selected, as well as Global Catalog, because we are promoting this server as a first domain controller in a new forest, and that's why these two checkboxes are already selected. Now we need to specify our directory services restore password. And okay, now click Next button. Click on Next again. We have selected bashlamp.local as our root domain. That's why you can see a NetBIOS domain name is bashlamp. If you don't want this as your NetBIOS name, you can change as per your requirement. Now click on Next button. Here we have options to specify the location of Active Directory database, log files, and the syswall. We are going to use the default locations, so leave it as default, and click Next. So this is the all selection that we made so far. If everything okay, click the Next button to start the installation process. And if you've got this green box, you can start the installation process. So let's click on Install button. Once your installation complete, your server will restart automatically. Now press Ctrl-Alt-Delete key to unlock our server. And the important thing is, instead of only administrator, now we have bashlamp/administrator. The only reason is, this server is promoted as a domain controller. Now first of all, I am going to open Server Manager, and I am going to click on Tools. And here we have all set of management consoles for the Active Directory. So, first of all, I am going to open the Active Directory users and computers. Here you can see we have the bashlamp.local. That is our name of the domain. And right-click on it and select Properties. Here you can see our domain functional level and the forest functional level. Let's minimize it. And now I am going to open the DNS management console. So, let's go to the Tools and select DNS. Here, I am going to expand our server, and under the forward lookup zone, you can see two Active Directory integrated DNS zones are there. Now, I am going to create one reverse lookup zone as well. So, right-click on it and select New Zone. Click on Next, and we want to select the primary zone, as well as the Active Directory integrated. Now click on Next, and here we can leave it as default. And click Next. We want the IP version for reverse lookup zone. So let's click Next again. And here I am going to specify the network ID. Here it will be your first 3-octave value of your IP address. Now let's click on Next. And click Next again and finish. So now you can see we have reverse lookup zone with the start of authority and the name server. Now let's click on bashlamp local zone, and this is the host record for our domain name. And I am going to select this checkbox and click on Apply, and click on OK. Now again click on our reverse lookup zone and hit refresh. You can see here we have a point at record as well. So that's it. Let's close our DNS console. And I am going to open the network connection console. And let's go to the IP version for properties. And here you can see the modification under preferred DNS server. Before we gave our IP address, now we have the local host address, because now this server is acting as a DNS server. So let's remove this and again give our IP address. And now click on OK and close the console. Now let's open the PowerShell, and I am going to run a command name called nslookup. And here you can see our default server name and the IP address. Now I am going to type bashlamp.local, and we got our answer, which is the server name and the IP address. We can search with the IP address as well, and we are also getting the same answer. So this is how we can set up Active Directory domain service on Windows Server 2019. Now our server is ready to act as a domain controller. In the next video, we will see how we can join the Windows 10 client computer to this domain. So that's it guys for today, and don't forget to subscribe Bashlamp channel for more system engineering and cybersecurity videos. Thank you guys.